We kick off the story and all hell is already breaking loose, where a bunch of mages are trying to hold off an attack from gigantic dragons in the kingdom of Riddle. Count Kerbek's crew was already kinda used to this mess, since dragons were a common problem there, and because of that, the Count's family history was one of intense brawls against these creatures. While they try to land a fatal blow on the beast by hitting the thug on the forehead, Murphy's Law prevails, showing that anything that's bad can always find a way to get worse. Because at this moment, the ground starts to shake and incredibly heavy footsteps are heard in the distance. And when the owner of the footsteps shows up, my friends, you could see in the mage's eyes that the life just drained out of them. The tension was so thick you couldn't even get a Wi-Fi signal. And when we're shown who the owner of the footsteps is, we get why. After all, a gigantic dragon appears, over 500 meters long. This baddie is known as the Black Dragon, and he's only appeared twice in Riddle's history, wrecking the cities he attacked. So you can imagine the luck of these people here. A true reverse lottery. The scene then changes and we go to the royal castle, where an assistant comes up to the Count's daughter, whose name is Isabel, and warns her that she needs to seek refuge, because it's dangerous as hell there. However, Isabella shoots back point blank, saying that's unacceptable, since her father and the knights are throwing down with the dragons. And as his daughter, it would be unforgivable to abandon the people now, so she'll stay, even if it costs her her life. The scene cuts to a girl named Monica, and her room, my friends, is a complete dump. Books everywhere, a total mess. It looks like a hurricane exploded in there. Her assistant arrives with a bunch of food and starts spilling the news, saying that 3 months ago, the border was attacked by dragons, and their leader was the legendary black dragon named Worgen. Besides that, it seems a member of the 7 sages, who are considered the 7 greatest mages in the kingdom, was the one who took the big guy down. And she's the newest member, known as the Silent Witch. And I can't even imagine who this witch could be, judging by Monica's behavior, but let's move on. After the chat, Monica gives the girl some cash, who thanks her but says it's too much money, which even raises some suspicion that she might be dealing with something illicit and all that. At this, the girl asks what she does for a living, what her job is, to which Monica stutters and says, "I'm a calculation specialist." The girl then asks if that's like a doctor of calculations, and Monica says it's something like that. Then, the girl says that other calculation doctors came to visit the village, because they said they wanted to see her, claiming they were her co-workers and such. And well, Monica starts shaking like a leaf hearing this, and upon hearing a male voice at the door, Monica feels her soul practically leave her body. Gathering what little strength she has inside, she slowly turns around and sees a young man with another lady, and all she can do at this moment is slam the door in the guy's face. The guy's name is apparently Lewis, but our little witch, holder of 0 social interaction stats, just stammers out a low while trying to keep the door shut. The young man forcing the door open tells her to stop giving him funny nicknames and calling him Lololo. At this, the little witch just gives way, and Lewis simply thanks the young lady who helped find Monica's house. The girl, in her purest elegance and innocence, says it was nothing and leaves. And well, either way, the damage was already done. Now alone, Lewis calls her Madam Monica Everett, also calling her the Silent Witch, one of the members of the 7 sages. Then she uses her skills to tidy up the entire room in the blink of an eye, while it's narrated that people can't use magic without reciting incantations. However, every rule has an exception, and the exception to this rule is precisely Monica, who came with factory default maxed out magic, but practically 0 social interaction. And her weakness, so to speak, was her strength. After all, it's not that she doesn't need to recite incantations. The truth is that her incantations are silent because she simply can't speak near other people. We then see a flashback of her at the Magic Institute, completely frozen, trembling, barely able to speak and even fainting in the worst cases. And being almost determined to give up, that's when the girl has a stroke of genius, a 500 IQ moment. If she can't speak in front of others, then why not use magic without saying anything? And wouldn't you know it, it worked. She put out the test candle without a word, and so, her talent grew and she moved up in life. After all this little lecture, we return to reality, and the visitor tells her, "I see you're still wasting your talent, fellow sage." and then asks Rin, who is a superior wind spirit, to cast a barrier so no one can hear their conversation. And then Louis gets straight to the point. He needs a favor. He was working as a personal guard for the second prince, under secret orders from His Majesty the King. Monica questions, "But aren't you affiliated with the first prince's faction?" He replies yes, but he was tasked with guarding the second prince for some reason. What matters is that he had to protect the prince without his knowledge. The prince, Felix, is studying at a boarding school, Serendia Academy. To infiltrate it, Louis prepared a magic brooch for Monica that tracks and protects, and so he could monitor the guy 24/7. Monica questions if he's not just stalking him, but he says it's normal to follow the person you're assigned to protect. She gets nervous, asking if the prince won't be angry if he finds out. But Louis, proposing $1 million solution, just says that getting around it is easy. In other words, the prince just has to not find out. And dudes, this visionary is a genius. Even Monica was perplexed by the sheer wisdom of the being in front of her, as you can see. Louis continues and explains that the brooch he gave the prince was passed to him as if it were a gift from the king himself to his son, but it seems it broke a day after he accepted it, which left Louis, to say the least, completely pissed. Monica then tries to change the course of the conversation and asks about the second prince, and Louis said he went to see him, but he just said that nothing had happened and the brooch broke by accident. And after all that, he looks at Monica and questions if she understood what he's trying to say. And Monica, obviously, replies that she didn't understand a damn thing. After all, she has zero social perception, and let's be real, Louis was a real jerk here. He explains directly that he wants her to infiltrate the academy and protect the prince in his place. And the result is that poor Monica goes into despair, crying, saying she can't do it. But Louis couldn't care less about her feelings and just says that since she never appears at royal events, no one knows her face, so she's perfect for the secret mission. And besides, her talent for using magic without incantations is ideal for discreet protection. She argues that she only joined the Seven Sages as a reserve, but Louis doesn't care. After all, the king gave him the responsibility, which means she has no choice but to agree. And by her own free will and excessive pressure, Monica accepts. And Louis relaxes, just like the cat who couldn't tank lunch and went for a nap, and starts telling her the details of the plan. And as you can see, Monica is absorbing the content by osmosis, because she doesn't seem to understand a word he's saying. He tells the story of an orphan girl who was adopted by Countess Kerbeck and was given a lot of love, which makes Monica happy, as it seems like a happy story. However, and yet, unfortunately the Countess passed away. And because of that, the little girl became a maid for the Count's cruel daughter and was forced to go to the academy as her servant, which Monica understands was cruel as hell. And while Monica is crying her eyes out, that's when the plot twist comes, because Louis drops the bomb, saying that she will be this poor girl. And Monica is in shock, speechless. Time passes, night falls, and Monica is still there, paralyzed. Her cat, Nero, tries to cheer her up, showing her his little paw pads that she loves so much, but she's totally broken inside and just says she can't protect the prince. And Nero says if she's so against it, she should run away. But the girl says that's impossible, because Louis would go to the ends of the earth if needed to find her, and that wouldn't be good at all. Nero then changes his approach and starts trying to make the girl see the bright side of things, mentioning that maybe the prince is cool and all, and that maybe this will be good for her, and asks if she's never seen the prince at ceremonies. Monica hesitates and says she's never even seen the king, because she always closes her eyes out of shyness. And Nero just says that not even knowing the face of someone you're going to protect is dangerous, to say the least. The scene changes and we then have a delusion from our protag, where a musical about little pigs starts playing, where it's basically a math problem she needs to get right. And all of this is just a way for our antisocial little witch to calm down, because she's currently flying with Louis, completely desperate about the terrifying future that lies before her eyes. They arrive at Louis's house, who tries to greet his wife, but she goes to Monica, and noticing the girl is completely worn out, so pale and malnourished, she decides to give her something to eat. The scene changes and after a rest, we have another plot twist, as we see Monica being teased precisely by Isabella, the Count's daughter, who reveals she's actually acting like a villainess, saying she's been rehearsing this tone every single day. After that, she elegantly greets Monica, saying her name is Isabel Norton and that it's the first time she's seen her, calling her the Great Silent Witch, mentioning that she is deeply grateful on behalf of her father and her people for defeating that dragon. Louis then asks when she is going to greet Isabella, and Monica does it, or at least tries, because she's shy as hell. To which Isabel says she doesn't mind. After all, she knows very well how her dear sister Monica is a strong and brave person. At this moment, we return to the time of the battle, where Isabel thanks Agatha for working for her family for all these years and is therefore removing her from her position, but Agatha refuses, saying she will serve her forever and ever. Then a kid comes up and mentions to his Aunt Agatha that the witch from the capital wrecked the Black Dragon's ride, and because of her, there were no fatalities. However, at that exact moment, a reign of dragons appears. After all, since they lost their leader, they'll at least cause as much chaos as possible in the city. But nope, because our little witch isn't just strong, she's strong as hell, and as a result, she wipes out these bastards too. It's revealed to be Monica, the user of silent magic. This is her great advantage. Humans can't control mana without incantations, but this genius made the impossible possible. And so, Monica simply eliminates all the dragons that were attacking the city. And this moment is beautiful, as it's narrated once again how our incredible protagonist developed silent incantation, while she summons a kind of gate in the sky that simply makes magic rain down and finish off all the winged dragons there. Damn, this protagonist is insanely cool, something that I, Isabella, and even you, unless you're dead inside, could recognize. Isabel mentions she heard she'll be entering Serendia Academy, and so that no one suspects her older sister, she will be a real devil on earth with how much she'll provoke and be mean to her. And this is even a bit controversial, but whatever, even our man Nero knows it's going to be crazy. The scene changes, and now we're in a dream our little witch Monica is having with her father. He gives her a measuring tape, and after getting this gift, she goes around measuring absolutely everything in the house, happy as a clam. She thinks to herself that she carried that tape for so long the numbers eventually wore off. After all, the world is full of numbers, just like humans are, and according to her dad's teachings, our bodies are made of enormous quantities of numbers. After she gets some serious shut-eye, she wakes up. We see she's in the carriage and realizes she's on her way to the academy to start her mission. The scene then cuts, and we're already at the academy, where Isabel is putting on a real show, complaining that she refuses to share a room with Monica because she shouldn't have to mix with the rabble. The rabble guys, you get it? The academy staffer just looks at the situation in despair, thinking they messed up by assuming Monica was her relative. But we know it was actually Monica herself who said she couldn't share a room with anyone. That's when Isabel, in her villainous role, says she'll handle it. Back at the academy, in front of everyone, she makes a huge scene, causing the staffer to beg her to calm down, promising he'll figure something out. Isabel, with all the scorn in the world, says the attic is good enough for Monica. But when the staffer hesitates, thinking about an available spot, she lays it on him. If there's no room, you can put her in the stables. I don't care one bit. Monica, of course, is shocked by the cruelty. The staffer runs off to make the arrangements, and Isabel looks over at Monica and gives her a sly little wink. Now, we cut to the Serendia Academy Student Council, where the treasurer, some guy named Aaron, is on trial for having his hand in the cookie jar, messing with the accounting records. The council secretary, Elliot, has already seen this crap has happened over 30 times. The shop manager, Bridget, asks if the scamming included the general budget funds, and the public affairs officer, Neil, confirms the number of incidents could be as high as 50. The council president, who's none other than our boy Prince Felix, informs Aaron that he was nominated for the council on a recommendation from the president's own grandfather. Felix says he's worried that after this whole mess, his grandfather will lose faith in Aaron's father. The treasurer starts panicking, wondering who's going to cover the costs. Felix throws it in his face that his stupidity is going to tarnish Count Stale's reputation. And that's it, my friends. Aaron completely loses it. He lunges at Felix, telling him to shut up and calling him the Duke's little lapdog. But before they can start throwing hands, Cyril, another council member, steps in, casting a spell that freezes Aaron on the spot and warns him that disrespecting the council president is punishable by death. Cyril apologizes to Felix for overstepping, but the prince thanks him for the protection and tells Aaron he's confined until the official expulsion order comes through, leaving the treasurer in total shock. We cut back to Isabel, who's a little sad because she wanted to be close to Monica and have tea parties, but the mission won't allow it. Just then, they see the council members dragging Aaron away while he screams that he didn't do anything. Isabel mentions she knows Aaron and the other members from meetings, except for the silver-haired one. But, she figures, he must be from the cream of the crop since he's got the student council insignia, so he has to be a noble. Hearing this, Monica just thinks that this shadowy girl is definitely better suited for secret missions than she is. The scene changes again, and next, we're in Monica's class, where the teacher, Victor, introduces her as the new transfer student. He asks her to introduce herself, but the poor girl just freezes up with anxiety. The teacher tells her to stand up straight, reminding her this is a prestigious academy filled with the nation's elite. Monica flashes back to being bullied by her classmates and can't say a word, until the teacher just tells her to sit down. While the other students gossip, a student named Lana comes over and asks why she wears her hair in braids. Monica, awkwardly, says she doesn't know any other hairstyles. Lana notices the other girls are talking about them, which makes Monica super embarrassed, but Lana doesn't back down and keeps asking questions. This time, she wants to know where she's from. When she finds out it's Lyonak, a coastal town on the border, she gets all excited. She asks what's trendy there, but my friends, how is our reclusive little witch supposed to answer that? She just says she doesn't know much about that stuff and apologizes. Lana, showing next-level determination, leans in and tells her that what's hot in the royal capital right now is that lipstick, which gets Monica curious. The rich, gossipy queen bees of the class comment that Lana is just showing off for Monica because she's rich, but Lana couldn't care less and just ignores them. She then grabs Monica's hair, undoes the braid, and tells her not to move. Our girl is basically having an anxiety attack but agrees. Lana gives her a whole new hairstyle and says it's easy and that she'll teach her later. When Monica looks in the mirror, she's amazed and realizes she didn't even thank the girl. After class, Monica wanders the academy, terrified of being seen and trying to avoid other students at all costs. She knows she still has to protect the prince, and just when she thinks about giving up, she remembers Louis's punishment and declares to herself that she'll do her best, which accidentally draws attention. She bolts to an empty spot, pulls out a little food, and wonders if it'll be enough. She finds a quiet place and runs smack into... who else? Prince Felix. She immediately backs away to find another spot, not even knowing it was him. That's when Elliot catches her red-handed, telling her she's walked right into a trap. He asks if what she's holding is a weapon, but she says it's her food. He doesn't believe her, thinking no one carries food in their pocket, and starts dragging her to the office. Monica panics, falls to the ground, drops her food, and yelps from how tightly he's grabbing her. Felix tells Elliot to let her go, but the secretary insists she's working with Aaron. The prince tells him to shut his trap, and Elliot finally lets go. Felix steps forward, says he heard about a transfer student, and asks if it's her. All embarrassed, she confirms her name is Monica. Felix tells Elliot she's no accomplice, just a little lost squirrel. He picks up the acorn from the ground, gives it to her, and apologizes. As Monica tries to thank him, she spots a vase falling towards the prince and uses her magic to push it away, while the prince dives to save her. Elliot runs off to investigate. Felix asks if she's okay, but the poor girl faints and dreams she's being kidnapped and tortured. She wakes up in a panic with Selma, from the class health committee, asking if she's alright. After being checked out, she goes back to her room, exhausted. Her cat, Nero, comes to see how her day went. Monica just replies that if you wanted to call it terrible, it would still need to get a lot better, before bursting into tears. Nero comforts her, telling her not to give up and to try again, even suggesting she use magic to play pranks on people. But Monica says using mind control magic for something like that could cause memory loss or delirium. Nero gets scared and encourages her to get over it. She's upset she couldn't even thank people properly, but the cat says he'll handle it personally. Monica is surprised, and that's when Nero transforms into a human and asks her what she thinks. Our little witch nearly has a heart attack, screaming in fear and begging him to turn back into a cat. He playfully asks her to just say, "Thank you." But Nero stops joking around when he spots a suspicious person outside. Monica looks and sees a stranger in the girls' dorm. Nero suspects the target is the prince and suggests they follow him, but Monica, using her magic, says she's seen that guy before. The scene shifts to a flashback of her with her dad. She asks him if his research will be done once he finishes his current calculation. He says no, that's just the first step, and in the end, the whole research project might prove to be useless. He might not even finish it in his lifetime, which she doesn't understand, since he works so hard on it. Back in the present, she's doing her hair and asks Nero what he considers to be useful. He says, philosophy, acting like a 500 IQ cat just for knowing the word, and asks her to praise him. She plays along and does. The cat then gets real and says that is useful. Her praise, he means, because it makes him feel happy and warm inside. Whoa, cuteness overload alert. He continues, saying there's no harm in enjoying useless things, since life is full of them anyway. Monica just thinks that it's a huge effort for her just to stay alive. Enjoying something potentially useless is on another level. But this unlocks the rest of her father's thought. The harder the challenge, the more fun it is. And she realizes she needs to challenge herself. The next day, she goes to class and tries to talk to Lana. Her friend is shocked by Monica's appearance. She tried to copy yesterday's hairstyle and failed miserably. She gives Lana a ribbon as a thank you, but her friend says she doesn't need it. Monica then asks Lana to teach her the hairstyle again, but the way she communicates is so catastrophic it's actually hilarious, which makes Lana burst out laughing and tell her to sit down. While teaching her, Lana mentions the comb is handmade by an artisan and decorated with gems. Suddenly she stops, saying her stories are boring and that's why she talks so much. Monica gets nervous again and says her stories must be boring too, since they're all about numbers. This makes Lana laugh, and soon they're both laughing together. Monica looks at herself in the mirror, amazed. The position of the braid, the angle, the amount of hair, it all made a difference. But Lana says you don't measure these things with numbers, you measure them by feel. She tells Monica to undo it and do it again. Our pro tag feels bad about ruining the beautiful hairstyle, but Lana gets mad, saying she'll never learn if she doesn't do it herself. Right at that moment, Elliot enters the room, surprising everyone, except Monica, who immediately hides. He finds her and says she always looks like a scared little squirrel. All red in the face, she insists she's human, and he just tells her to be quiet and follow him. They go to the council room, where Felix apologizes for summoning her and introduces himself as the president. Monica is shocked, thinking the guy she met yesterday was the prince. Even though she's nervous as hell, she thanks him. The prince asks what for, and she says for the acorn and the infirmary. He just tells her not to worry about it. She then asks him why he snuck out of the dorm last night, which makes Elliot go ballistic, as it's the first he's hearing of this. Felix plays dumb and asks what she's talking about, but even though she's nervous, she explains she saw him from her window. He keeps digging, saying maybe it was a suspicious person and asks for a description. She says he was wearing a hood, so she couldn't see his face, but his build was identical to his. Felix argues that a lot of people have his build, but then, my friend, things get ugly for him. Our little math, which presents hard proof, laying out a full-blown doctoral thesis on his geometric proportions. After she's done, she feels like she totally overdid it and messed up. Elliot asks if this little lecture proves what the squirrel said, and Felix just confirms it, admitting there's been no progress. Elliot just grumbles that Cyril is going to faint if he finds out. Felix says he was right about Monica being just a harmless little squirrel. If she were an assassin, she wouldn't have hesitated to attack him when they were alone. Elliot then asks about the flower pot that fell on them. Monica thinks it was an accident, but Felix explains it all started with the treasurer's fraud. To catch him, they decided to lock him in the dorm. Aaron hinted he had a partner, so Elliot set a trap in the backyard. Monica is shocked to realize she was the suspected assassin. She imagines Lewis telling her she always gets things done in unexpected ways. Elliot then turns to her and asks if she's Aaron's partner. She says no. And then comes the twist nobody saw coming. He asks her to find the real partner. And Monica, basically signing a blank check just to get out of there without even processing what she's saying, just promises she'll help. With that, Felix says he's leaving the case to her. The scene changes, and we see what's left of Monica in the yard, crying her eyes out over what just happened, while Nero says she's basically become a personal bodyguard and asks if being considered an assassin is a problem, leaving our little witch even more shocked. And that's where the episode ends. It seems like the more our girl tries to escape, the deeper she gets buried, and I am loving this anime. Now we just have to wait a week to see where this story goes. Do you want to see this story continue? Then let me know in the comments that you want the next part, smash that like and hype button to support the video, and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing.